During the 1950s, America's economy had boomed. Millions of Americans reached the middle class. As you can see in the image on the left side, we see a more comfortable standard of living. Nice big yard, neighbors are pretty good distance away. The image also shows what the typical American family consisted of: 2 kids, boy, girl, mom, and dad. All family members are well dressed. While the image on the right shows a more suburb way of living: nice big houses with neighbors on either end, good schools, low crime rate, little bit of traffic, nice and peaceful, quiet neighborhood. Conformity was common among people as they tried to follow the norm or trend rather than be themselves. Sociologist David Reisman, in his book The Lonely Crowd, describes the new society as other-directed, a society whose people, rather than make their own beliefs and live up to their own values, are looking to other people for guidance, typically not being themselves. TV contributed to conformity by showing people social patterns, how to dress, how to act, and socialize, which led to TV bringing about the idea of what was considered the typical American. Since 87% of Americans owned a TV, portraying the image of the typical American really had an effect on society. The Red Scare, which took place in the early 1950s, also had a big role in forming conformity in the United States. Americans were accused of being a communist spy by Wisconsin Senator Joseph McCarthy. Those accused felt like they needed to dress more American to prevent furthermore accusations, which led to a society of people that dressed the same, acted the same. No one wanted to stand out during that time in fear that they too might be accused. During the 1950s, America's mass production increased a lot, especially in the auto industry. The auto industry brought about an increase in employment. 1 out of 6 Americans were employed in the auto industry. By 1953, the number of people who owned a car in America nearly tripled, like my weight. During the kitchen debate in Moscow, President Nixon was talking about how much America's auto industry had improved. Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev doubted him. President Nixon was so confident in his country, he even invited the Soviet leader over to America just to show off the sheer amount of auto production America had. And sure as hell, when Nikita visited the country, he was astonished by the sheer amount of manufacturing taking place. Cars also brought about many new businesses, such as drive-thru you see at fast food places, drive-in theaters, and drive-in restaurants. For example, a drive-in fast food place would be McDonald's, Carl's Jr., Jack in the Box, and Burger King. Design is also an improvement of the car in the 1950s, a new addition to the rear end of a car, the so-called wings on the side. One of the most iconic cars to have this design in use was the 1957 Chevy Bel Air. The Chevy Bel Air was the most popular car in its time. 8 out of 10 Americans said if they had to choose between which car they preferred to have, the most popular answer would be the 57 Chevy Bel Air. That's quite the achievement on Chevy's part to have such a good-looking and popular car. We don't see that today, but it was good while it lasted. Cars today have since played such an important role on our daily lives, from going to school, commuting to work, going to the mall, going out to eat, and even traveling, that they have affected all aspects of society such as family, life, the economy, and even the environment.